Real Housewives of Atlanta fans, we just got our very first Nene Leakes mention on the most recent episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta that just aired tonight, and I'm going crazy about it. Hi y'all, my name is Char. This is Don't Blame Char, where I talk about all things entertainment, news, reality, television, and pop culture, and don't blame me for your reaction to it. Today, I'm going to be talking about the first Nene Leakes mention on Bravo in years, and why it's so significant. Let me give you guys context as to why and how Nene was mentioned. So Cynthia was comforting Shamea. For those of you completely unaware, Portia and Shamea on this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta are not on the best terms, and they're trying to figure out a pathway back to their friendship, or maybe not being friends at all. And in the context of the situation, Shamea and Cynthia were having a conversation about how they should move forward with Portia, in particular how Shamea was going to get through this sort of tough time, because she really loves Shamea and she wants to still be friends with her. And here's where Nene and Cynthia come in, because Cynthia basically said that Shamea and Portia's friendship reminds her a lot of how her and Nene used to operate. And Cynthia even mentions the tough period where her and Nene were not on the best of terms, but eventually they got to work it out and got back to the healthy spot we are in today. And I also love that it's so full circle, because Cynthia just 2 weeks ago, I believe, was just on Nene's show, and they were talking about all things Real Housewives of Atlanta, sort of the Peter thing, why they first fell out. It was really cool. This is even more significant because there was a point where Bravo wouldn't even mention Nene. And for those of you unaware, Nene had essentially sued Bravo and Andy Cohen over an alleged racist and hostile work environment. And because of this lawsuit, it seemed like Nene's relationship with Bravo and NBC Universal at large was going to be over. And there were multiple moments where Nene was literally edited out of Real Housewives of Atlanta because the relationship between Bravo and Nene and just NBC at large was, hostile, and they couldn't really mention her. Because again, there was an ongoing lawsuit. It was complicated. So the fact that Cynthia was actually able to mention Nene despite everything means that Nene's probably back in a better place with NBC again. And it's because of all of this that I have one prediction that Nene is going to do. With Nene renewing her relationship with Bravo and NBC Universal, I think Nene is going to make an appearance at BravoCon. Here's why. There's a Watch What Happens Live / BravoCon Live with Andy Cohen on Thursday at November 13th, entitled The Days of Our Wives, 20 Years of the Real Housewives. And let me just say, you can't document 20 years of the Real Housewives without having the Nene Leakes, the biggest reality television icon from the Housewives, on the panel. It would be like having a Kardashian convention without Kim Kardashian. Nene has also been heavily rumored for season 4 of The Traitors. Now, we don't know if this is true or not, but it's going online, and there's no way that Bravo and people at NBC Universal hasn't seen this. And perhaps they're okay with these rumors, spreading because it's going to stir up attention and people wanting to see Traitors season 4 after the success of Traitors season 3. All in all, it was so nice to see Cynthia mention Nene, and just the fact that Nene might potentially be back on Bravo for the first time in years. And of course, as always, I want to leave this discussion up to you guys, the audience. How do you guys feel about Cynthia mentioning Nene on Real Housewives of Atlanta for the first time in years? Lastly, let me know whose side you're on the Portia and Shamea fight. It's been huge all season long, and it's probably going to be front center at the reunion. I will see you guys in my next nerdy pop culture updates video. Peace out!